Know what I love most about KB? The way he can give me a gift and yet still sound threatening. But I've got moss now, look, and all the fun stuff that comes along with it. It's so pretty. I really like it. Also, fun fact, it's the same color as on a map as green wool is. Anyways, side note. So here's what I've been up to. We have got the swamp flattened. And by the way, I highly recommend using swamp areas like this one in particular for map art because you flatten it, getting the dirt to fill in the water. Now, in the outer areas where it was deeper, I just like put a layer of dirt, but in areas like that just there, I'm not talking fast enough to keep up with it. In that just, what the clip you just saw, I was actually filling in the holes. Now here I am doing some terraforming on the mountainside. Now I have never done this and it's not finished, but I'm enjoying this process. This is kind of fun. I'm trying a few different techniques of whether to kind of do it random first or do it flat and then break it down like I am here. It's been a fun little process. I'm enjoying it. And I think it's helping the island feel more complete. But the outside isn't the only place I've been working on the island. I have also been working on hollowing out the inside for my storage area and whatever else it needs to be. Those of you with a keen eye for detail will notice this isn't Minecraft. No. This is Tabletop Simulator. Tabletop Simulator, where we're going to test the game. That's right. I have, oh wait, I didn't want to deal. Did I deal those to me? Yes, I did. Okay. I meant to draw, but I guess deal worked. We're going to test the game. I have built a demo of my card game in Tabletop Simulator. I'm planning on streaming it sometime, maybe tonight, and playing it with people. And I think this is, I need to do this before I start building the cards on the server. Okay. So this game is out there. If you search for AfterLife CCG or KyleBlane in Tabletop Simulator Workshop, you should find it. I've just already discovered there's a few bugs with the cards, specifically the numbers around the edges. Negative are supposed to be green and positive are supposed to be, negative are supposed to be red, positive are supposed to be green. There is a +1 that is red. We're treating it as -1. The color is taking precedence over the number. So anyways, what I wanted to do in this video, actually for the rest of this video, I want to play through a demo of the game with you guys. Now, this game is for 2 to 4 players. 3 players would be a little funky, I think, but technically it would work. There's no reason for it not to work. The way I have it set up here is it's designed to be played in a 3x3 grid or 4x4, and you use the intersections for your cards. So I thought that was pretty clever. We could also do 5x5 and utilize these outer edges as well. But for this case, we're going to be playing a 2-player game, me and the player across from me, placing cards. And so how this works is when you place a card, you place it upright for you. Now this matters in Minecraft because item frames remember their rotation. So let's say I played this card and it landed like this on the item frame in Minecraft. I would then take it and rotate it to where it was facing me. So what is going on this card? Well, in the middle will be a picture. Not this picture. This is just the one I happen to choose for the demo. This picture would not work at all in map art. It's just too detailed. But I have some cool pictures that are like fan art that I've already got permission from the artist to use, which is awesome. So ignore the middle. That doesn't matter. The numbers, shush, Discord. The numbers are the victory points. At the end of the game, the number facing you is added or subtracted from your total victory points. The arrows are the action of the cards when you place a card. If the arrow is pointing at a card adjacent in that direction, it rotates that card 90 degrees. So by going first, so here's the thing. Technically by going first with a 2-player game in a 9x9 or a 3x3 grid, the first player is also going to go last, meaning they get an extra turn. One of the things in testing I need to figure out is that unfair? Because going first is technically a disadvantage because this card will not rotate other cards. And then on your last turn, you don't choose where to put the card. The square is chosen for you. So I feel like going first actually has enough of a disadvantage that having an extra turn isn't a big deal. But I have thought of one variation. So as I play, I'm going to be talking about variations and additional mechanics that I might add in later, because you know how card games work. You know how they make their money. They come out with a new mechanic and that makes people buy more cards. We're going to do the same thing. The first thing I release is going to be the base game. Then we're going to add new mechanics. But one of the mechanics we do could be an alternate version of the game. Now, this would have nothing to do with new decks. Actually, though, it could be specific cards, but I would probably provide those at the arena. Anyways, basically, the idea would be that the game begins with a card in the center or anywhere, really. And then the players can rotate it. Now, in this case, it would be a fair game because the player who goes first would have just as many turns as the player who goes second, and the player who goes first has a card that they can rotate at the beginning of the game. So that could be a bit more fair. We're going to test those things. So I've got to look at my cards and think, okay, which of these do I want to play? They're all +2, -1 cards that I happen to have drawn. So it's not really that big of a deal, but because I know these cards are going to be rotated a lot, especially the cards you play first, I'm actually going to go ahead and play this card in the center. Actually, no, I'm going to place it on the edge. Because at the very least, I will be able to rotate this card surely to at least 1 or 2 times. So then when I'm done, I would draw, and we're just gonna draw from the same deck. Everybody has the same deck. But rather than like switching hands, I'm just going to keep drawing from the same deck. So now we're going to play as this player across the table from me. So I've got a +2 here. So I don't really want to rotate that one. What else do I have? Ooh, I've got a card that's got a +4, but it's to the left. So I would need to rotate that 3 times to get that +4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that in the center, so I have as much opportunity to manipulate this card as possible. And here's what I love about the game. I've already played one demo when I recorded this a few minutes ago, and then for some reason in the capture, you could not see these cards or the cards played on the table. I don't know why. That was weird. But now I know. OBS is picking it up. Anyways, as the game goes, the turns take longer. Because you have so many more decisions to make, which I hadn't really thought about yet. And the game I played earlier, I did a 4-player game on a 3x3 grid. I think a 4-player game needs to be 4x4 grid minimum. Because each player takes so few turns. It's kind of hard to like really strategize. So now me on this side, I see this +4 right here, and I think, I really want that 4 to be on my side, but I know that they're going to want to rotate it a lot. So I don't know. Do I rotate it, making it rotate more? I don't know. Another mechanic I've considered, but I don't think it works well in a 3x3 grid, is having the arrows go around the board. So I could place this one and it would rotate both cards, this one and this one, because this arrow points, here, let me zoom in so you can see better. This arrow points to this card, but this arrow goes off the board all the way around over to this card. I don't want to rotate this one though. Actually, no, I think I would want to rotate it because I know everybody's going to be fighting for this card to be pointed at them at the end. And I know one rotation isn't going to be enough. So I'm going to go ahead and play this one. It's a pretty innocuous card. So now this gets rotated. I've got the +4 on my side now. Let's draw again. And let's rotate over to this player. Okay, so now as this player, I'm thinking, okay, I really want that +4. I've got a -1 over here pointed at me. Let me go ahead and do this one here. So this rotates that +2 at me and gets a -1 on my opponent. And now this card is stuck. Here's why I like the idea of arrows not going across the board is this card is now stuck in its position. That's why this was a good play. I now get +2 and my opponent gets -1 on this card because there's no way an arrow is going to point at this card now. So yeah, I like that. I like that play. Now this player is going to draw. So what do we want to do as this player? Well, he didn't rotate that +4, but I know he's really wanting to. And I've got a +4 here. He's going to be really concentrating to get that +4. So I'm going to give myself this +4, which gives him a -2. So now I've put the other player in a position where they're like, crap, I've really got a couple of things going against me here. So now we have a +3 toward us that would rotate 2 cards. Ooh, yeah, it will rotate 4 cards. This is a really powerful card. It goes as high as +3 and as low as -2, and it rotates 4 directions. That's one of the things I'm needing to test is the idea of what gives a card power. Is more rotations better than less? Because it may not be. Maybe I didn't want to rotate one of these, but I really do. So now I'm going to rotate this, getting this +4 closer to me and this +4 closer to me. Now this player is really mad, like, dang it, what am I going to do? And this card is now locked in at a +1/+1. Oh, I didn't think about that. As this player, I didn't think about that this card is now locked in neutral. This card may as well be stricken from the game at this point and not counted. I mean, you may as well count it. But it doesn't matter now. So now as this player, I like this card's position. Ooh, this is tricky. So this player wants to rotate this card once. I want it rotated 3 more times, if at all possible. I want it rotated 3 times or no times. He may not have a card that points to it. I don't know that though. So I'm going to, but here's the thing. There's 3 turns left. I want it rotated 3 times. So I'm going to do my best to rotate this card 2 times. And but if I rotate it now, he's not going to rotate it on his turn. So I'm going to leave it. I have this card that will guarantee the ability. So this is where you got to do math, because if he rotates this, he's going to be at a 2-point advantage. And if I rotate it 1 more time, he's going to be at a 3-point advantage. So never mind. I'm going to let him do his rotate because that's the best situation for me, honestly. So now the best option for me is to go, let's say maybe I'm banking on him not having the right diagonal card. And so I'm going to do this one, which gives me a +1 and him a -1. Whoops, I did not mean to rotate that. So let's draw again, come over here. Now this player, he wants this card rotated 1 more time, and I've got it in 2 different cards. I really would rather it be this one because the other one has a -2, and however I play this card, it's locked in. So now we rotate that one. Oh, this player has the way better game going on. So now this player is stuck. They have to play in this space. They just have to play the best card for them, which in this case would be this one. Oh no, it wouldn't, because that's going to rotate this card, which is going to give that player +4. See what I mean? See what I mean? There's depth to this, and there's not even that many mechanics. Holy crap, I have come up with a really good game. Also, I haven't played any cards that have the red +1. This one has the red +1. That's funny. Oh man, so the last player has a lot to think about. That's not a good one. That's not the worst one. So this one, this one gives me a net. This one in and of itself gives me a net neutral, but when it rotates this one, it gives me a -2 advantage because it's, let me zoom in so you can do the math with me. So placing this and getting it stuck is a wash because it gives us both +1 point. Now imagine this with 4 players, all the extra math you're having to do. Okay, yeah, so I think a 3x3 or 4x4 grid is the max for this game. because otherwise it's way too much to think about. Okay, so here's the thing. We may have to do like timers on this. We may have to do timers because you could really get stuck in analysis paralysis with this, and we can't have that. So that would give me playing this card would get me a -2 advantage because I would end up getting +2. He would end up getting +4. Playing this one would give me a wash on this card itself because we both have -2. But this one will become a +3 advantage. Or a -3 disadvantage, sorry. A +3 advantage for my opponent. Playing this one would be a wash in the card itself. So it doesn't matter which card I play in terms of this card. It matters what it does to the other cards. That would then give my opponent a -3. That would give my opponent a +3 advantage. No, it wouldn't. No. That would give me a +3 advantage. So this is the card I want to play because it's a wash here. We both get -1 because remember this red one right here is a negative. That's a typo on my part. So this now rotates this way. Aha! So now we add up the points. So as this player, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 6. Okay, so 6 points for that player. This player gets 2, 4, 5, 8, 12, 11, 10, 9, 10. So 10 to 6. Guys, I think we're at a really good starting point with this. That game, even with all the explanations, took 10 minutes to play, which I feel like for a 2-player game, especially with banter instead of explaining, that's good. There's no problem with that. And before we go, because that's it for this video. I just wanted to show you this and whatever I did in the intro. I don't even remember. I wanted to show you this and kind of talk through some of the mechanics I've thought about, and you give me your feedback. First of all, the feedback I need from you is a name for the game. What do we want to call this? I don't want to call it AfterLife CCG, but I don't know what to call it. So some of the other mechanics I've thought about is, and again, these would be added later on to encourage extra purchases. One thing I thought about is multiple arrows in a corner or a side. Multiple arrows meaning you turn that card 2 times instead of 1 time. That could get too complex, but I don't think that's that big of a deal. The issue becomes here on this edge, I got to figure out the best way to do the victory points. The victory points may actually end up being like a tally instead of a number. And so it's not in the way of the arrow. And that way I could do more with the arrow and maybe scoot the arrow back and have the tally along the edge of the card. So that's one idea for a mechanic, is multiple arrows causing multiple turns. Another mechanic I thought about is a charged creeper card. Now I had this idea that there could be certain cards that are ultra rare and are special in that they are the only card of its kind that has a particular mechanic. So a charged creeper, when played, would blow up the card it's pointing at, only one. It would point at one card and it would blow up that card and itself. So that effectively allows you to get rid of a card that you really don't want on the battlefield. Another thought Hilldragon had with that was, what if the charged creeper had a delay to it so that it on your next turn it blew up, and whatever arrow it was pointed at, whatever card it was pointing at, is what blew up, so the opponent had a chance to defend. That's not a bad idea. That's just a mechanic. I'm trying to do as little that requires the players to remember things on, like, in the future turns. I want each turn to be its own thought process, if that makes sense. I'm trying to think what other mechanics I had in mind. I already mentioned the idea of it going around the board. I don't think that works well for 3x3. I think it could work in 4x4 and higher. If we did hire a higher man, that'd be a long game. This game takes a lot longer than I expected it to. It really does. So yeah, those are kind of the mechanics I've thought about. Let me know your thoughts. Can't wait to like get this into action. I think this will be a lot of fun to play on the server and have tournaments, and people can use this game to like fight over things or whatever. I don't know. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys later. Hey, and if you have Tabletop Simulator, go download it and we can play it. We can test it together like on stream and stuff. That'd be fun. So anyways, see you next time. Adios. Goodbye.